There is a subtle collapse of the legs that occurs after the age of 60, and the majority of elderly people are unaware that it is coming from their fruit bowl. That's right, your thighs will become smaller, your calves will become softer, and you will lose your balance. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, reports that sarcopenia, often known as the silent age-driven loss of muscle mass, affects 1 in every 3 Americans over the age of 65. New research from 2025 reveals that some fruits are responsible for causing spikes in blood sugar, the breakdown of collagen, and persistent inflammation. These 3 factors are precisely what cause harm to lower body strength in elderly people. A single one of them raises the chance of falling by a factor of 280%, and it is currently stored in your refrigerator. In this video, we will discuss the 7 fruits that are the worst for leg strength, listed from the least dangerous to the most dangerous in terms of their potential for damage. Stay around because the 3rd fruit has been connected to a substantial decrease in calcium levels, as well as a 3-fold increase in the amount of muscle weariness. Real study lends credence to this finding. All of the references are linked down below. First things first. Before we get started, please let us know in the comments what kind of fruit you consume the most these days. We will then respond with some advice on whether or not it is beneficial to your leg strength. Our team is currently reading and responding to each and every remark. Now, without further ado, let's begin with fruit number 7, which is the fruit that the majority of elderly citizens consume first thing in the morning. Watermelon comes in at number 7. It is possible that watermelon appears to be a harmless summer delight. Despite the fact that it is low in calories, hydrating, and juicy, there is a hidden cost associated with it for older citizens. The glycemic index of watermelon is an astounding 80, which indicates that it is capable of delivering sugar to the bloodstream at a rate that is comparable to that of a slice of white bread. As a result of this abrupt jump, your insulin levels surge and then plummet, leaving your muscles without the consistent energy they need to function. Not only does this kind of roller coaster cause havoc for legs that are already having trouble maintaining their strength, but it is not the only problem that arises. Although watermelon contains around 120% water, it does not provide much in the way of muscle protective minerals such as magnesium, calcium, or protein. Fructose, a sugar that your liver is responsible for processing, is abundant in it. An excessive amount of fructose causes inflammation to worsen and makes insulin resistance worse in elderly people who have fatty liver, which is a frequent condition. This prevents glucose from reaching your muscles at a time when they want it the most. Consequently, this results in a longer recovery of muscles, increased tiredness, and, over time, legs that are smaller and weaker. The findings of a study that was published in the year 2019 in the journal Nutrients indicated that high fructose fruits, particularly those with low nutrient density such as watermelon, were linked to a reduction in lower body function experienced by older persons. Over 1,000 elderly people were followed by the researchers, and they discovered that individuals who consumed a greater quantity of fructose had significantly slower walking speeds and grip strength. Exactly what should you do? Limiting the amount of watermelon you consume is essential, but you don't have to completely eliminate it from your diet. On a hot day, it is acceptable to consume 1 or 2 small cubes, but you should not make it your daily snack, and you should never consume it by yourself on an empty stomach. The sugar increase can be mitigated by consuming it in conjunction with a source of protein or a healthy fat, such as Greek yogurt or a handful of almonds. On the other hand, if you are more concerned with building leg strength, there are many superior fruit options available. The following fruit is one that appears to be in good health on the surface, but on the inside, it is a complete and utter source of discomfort for your joints, your potassium levels, and your stability. This is the 6th. Fruit juices, especially those that are made entirely from natural ingredients. When you reach the age of 60, your body is no longer able to process sugar in the same way that it did in the past. That seemingly harmless glass of fruit juice could be quietly undermining your leg strength over time. Even those that are marketed as being 100% natural or having no added sugar are hazardous once you have passed the midlife mark. How come? This is due to the fact that the fiber in fruit is totally removed when it is juiced. This fiber is not merely a filler. Rather, it serves as a protective barrier that reduces the rate at which sugar enters your bloodstream. Without it, the natural sugar that is found in fruit immediately transforms into a burst of glucose that travels through your body in a matter of minutes. When this happens, your blood sugar levels skyrocket, your insulin levels overcompensate, and your muscles cease receiving the consistent fuel they require to maintain their strength. Instead, you set off a chain reaction that results in insulin resistance, inflammation, and a rapid breakdown of muscle tissue, particularly at the lower extremities. A study that was published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism in 2021 followed senior citizens who were above the age of 65 and habitually consumed fruit juice. Comparing them to seniors who consumed whole fruits, the researchers discovered that they had a 34% higher fasting blood sugar level, a 22% higher risk of insulin resistance, and a 21% faster rate of leg muscle atrophy among the former group. Furthermore, the risk was not restricted to juice purchased from a store, because the sugar is still absorbed too quickly without the fiber to slow it down. Even handmade, cold-pressed, or organic fruit juice cause the same metabolic mayhem. This is because the sugar content is still too high. The fact that liquid sugar bypasses the fullness sensors in your stomach makes this situation much more problematic. As a result, you wind up consuming more sugar than you would if you were eating actual fruit without experiencing a sense of fullness. Because of this, the excess sugar is converted into fat in the abdominal region, which leads to an increase in inflammation and has a direct impact on the quadriceps, glutes, and calves, which are important leg muscles that support your balance, posture, and walking strength. Because of this, elderly people who consume juice frequently have symptoms such as stiffness, shaky steps, or leg tiredness that cannot be explained. Change all of your juices, including the ones that are supposed to be healthy, in order to preserve your leg strength. In no circumstances should you consume grape juice, orange juice, apple juice, or blends. Or, if at all feasible, consume the fruit in its entirety, including the peel. Additional slowing of digestion can be achieved by combining it with healthy fats, such as almonds or Greek yogurt. In addition, if you are in need of something refreshing, you can create water with lemon, mint, or cucumber infused into it. It has a sweet taste without the rush of sugar. Following the age of 60, your muscles are unable to tolerate another day of glucose overload. If you drink fruit juice, regardless of how natural it is, you will gradually lose strength as you drink it. This is the fifth, fruit preserved in syrup jars. There is a possibility that this one is currently residing in your pantry, and it is significantly more hazardous than it appears to be. There is a possibility that canned fruit in syrup is the worst fruit-based food that an elderly person can consume. Not only is the fruit itself devoid of fiber, but it is also drenched in a thick syrup that is high in fructose, which transforms it into a sugar bomb that is absorbed by the bloodstream. What's more, it actively degrades collagen in your joints, speeds up the breakdown of your leg muscles, and raises inflammation in your knees, ankles, and hips. All of these changes are detrimental to your health. This is the serious issue at hand. These syrups are frequently derived from refined sugars or high fructose corn syrup, both of which cause an increase in insulin levels, can lead to an increase in visceral fat, and can make metabolic dysfunction even worse. That is a catastrophe for senior citizens. Your leg muscles are already contracting with age, and your joints are already wearing thin. When you combine this with the recurrent sugar surges that come from eating canned peaches or pears that have been soaked in syrup, you create a perfect storm for leg fatigue, cartilage loss, and instability when walking. Those older persons who eat canned fruits more than twice a week had a 38% higher risk of acquiring mobility restrictions. According to the findings of a significant study that was conducted in the year 2020 on nutrition. How come? The persistent inflammation that is brought on by diets high in sugar causes damage to the mitochondria of your muscles, which are the power centers of your cells. The failure of mitochondria results in a decrease in muscular energy, a slowdown in repair, and a decrease in strength. The syrup absorbs quickly and forcefully, causing your insulin to become overloaded and forcing your body to go into overdrive. This is because fiber is not present to decrease the sugar surge. What is absent is even more than a source of concern. The majority of fruits that are canned have been peeled, cooked, and soaked, which may result in the loss of essential vitamins such as vitamin C, potassium, and folate. These are necessary for the formation of collagen, the coordination of muscles, and the protection of healthy bones. Therefore, even if they may suggest that you are getting a fruit cocktail or peaches, what you are actually getting is sugar water that is soft and causes inflammation, and it makes your legs weaker with each passing day. If you are grabbing for canned fruit because you believe it to be a nutritious treat, you should reconsider. No, it is not fruit. This is a snare. Instead, choose for frozen options that do not include any added sugar or fresh whole fruits, and make sure to read the label at all times. When it claims that your legs are paying the price, it means that they are. The next item on the agenda is a dried fruit that has been sold as healthy for decades, but it is actually one of the fruits that causes the highest inflammation in the legs of older people. It's the fourth item, raisins. They appear to be harmless. They are really little. Every healthy snack aisle has them available for purchase. Raisins, on the other hand, might be one of the most dangerous concealed dangers to the leg strength and mobility of elderly people. How come? Due to the fact that these shriveled small fruits contain pure, concentrated sugar, and they do not have the water or fiber that whole grapes often contain in order to slow down the pace at which sugar is absorbed. Consequently, a handful of raisins might cause your blood sugar to jump in the same way that candy does. There is a significant decrease in your body's capacity to eliminate glucose after the age of 60. There is reduced responsiveness in your pancreas. Insulin resistance develops in the muscle cells of your body. Furthermore, because raisins do not contain any water or fiber to act as a buffer against the sugar rush, they produce the ideal conditions for the breakdown of collagen in the legs, as well as damage to the muscles and nerves. According to the findings of a study that was published in the Journal of Gerontology, persons over the age of 60 who experienced high post-meal blood glucose rises had much lower lime strength and walk speed that was significantly slower. A connection was made between frequent glucose surges and rapid muscle atrophy by the scientists. On the other hand, it's not just the sugar. Advanced glycation end products, generally known as AGs, are another type of chemical that can be found in raisins. As a result of carbohydrates binding to proteins in the body, particularly collagen, which is found in your muscles and joints, these are produced. Your connective tissue becomes more rigid, your muscle suppleness decreases, and inflammation in your knees, ankles, and hips increases as a result of advanced glycation end products. All of these factors contribute to a more difficult walking experience and an increased chance of falling. To make matters even more difficult, the majority of raisins are processed with vegetable oils or sulfites, both of which have the potential to irritate the gut and cause chronic inflammation, particularly in older persons who have digestive disorders or tendencies toward getting autoimmune diseases. This inflammation spreads throughout the body, going all the way to the smaller muscles that are responsible for maintaining your posture and balance. In the event that you are in the mood for something sweet and chewy, you can substitute a few slices of fresh apple with almond butter for raisins. Another option is to consume blueberries, which are rich in antioxidants and do not cause a sugar crash. On the other hand, if you include raisins in your trail mix, porridge, or morning muffin, you might find that your legs are suffering as a result. Next, there is a fruit that may be quietly causing damage to your nerves and draining your strength, but it masks itself as a tropical fruit that is good for your health. Third in all, the pineapple fruit. It has a sweet flavor, a juicy texture, and is frequently referred to as a restorative fruit. However, pineapple might subtly undermine your leg strength, particularly if you consume it on a regular basis, especially if you are an elderly person. When compared to other common fruits, pineapple has one of the largest quantities of fructose that is contained in a single serving. In contrast to other sugars, fructose undergoes a distinct metabolic process. It is necessary for it to first go via the liver before it can enter your bloodstream and provide you with energy. And in the case of elderly people, this process is slower, less effective, and more detrimental than the majority of people understand. Here is why it is significant. When the liver is overloaded with high fructose intake, particularly from fruits like pineapple, it begins to convert the sugar into fat on its own. The result of this is a condition known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD, which is currently affecting more than 60% of elderly people who have diabetes or prediabetes. What exactly is the connection between this and your legs? If you have a fatty liver, your capacity to retain and control glucose levels will be significantly diminished. In this way, Insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and a reduction in the transport of nutrients to muscles are accomplished. What comes out of it? Muscular atrophy in the legs, a slowed recovery, and a sudden loss of mobility are all symptoms. When compared to those who had a balanced amount of glucose, elderly people who consumed diets high in fructose had a risk of lower body frailty that was 2.5 times higher, according to a study that was conducted in the field of diabetes treatment. A pineapple has a glycemic index of about 60, which is significantly higher than the majority of berries or citrus fruits. In other words, it enters your bloodstream very quickly, which causes a surge of insulin to be released, which can result in crashes, muscle weakness, and exhaustion. In the long run, those swings will cause harm to the blood vessels that supply the legs and feet, as well as wear out your nerves. And despite the fact that pineapple includes bromelain, an enzyme that some people believe has anti-inflammatory properties, studies have shown that the effect of pineapple on older persons is marginal and inconsistent, particularly when the pineapple is consumed in sweet canned or juiced forms. A significant amount of sugar is being consumed by the majority of senior citizens in each dish. Papaya is a great alternative to tropical fruits if you prefer eating them. Sugar content is lower, fiber content is higher, and it has been demonstrated to alleviate inflammation in diabetics. However, pineapple. Once you reach the age of 60, it is one of the most rapid ways to deplete the strength in your legs, one delicious bite at a time. However, before we proceed, if you have been enjoying the video up to this point, ensure that you click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell symbol so that you don't miss any future movies similar to this one. The second place, mangoes that are overripe. Although mangoes are sometimes referred to as the king of fruits, they have the potential to be the silent murderer of leg strength for people over the age of 60, particularly when they are overripe. A cup of sliced ripe mango has more than 45 grams of sugar, which is equivalent to the amount of sugar found in a can of Coca-Cola. Additionally, even though the sugar may originate from fruit, your body processes it in the same manner that it processes candy and other sweets. A significant amount of sugar rushes into your system if you do not consume enough fiber to slow it down. The levels of insulin skyrocket, inflammation skyrockets, and the breakdown process starts. According to recent research, high fructose fruits such as mangoes that have reached their full maturity speed up a process known as glycation. This is a process in which sugar binds to collagen and physically causes it to become more rigid. It is precisely this protein that your knees and joints make use of in order to maintain their flexibility, strength, and shock absorption. Within a matter of weeks, senior citizens who consumed high fructose fruits had a drop in leg muscle density of 32% and a loss of measurable walking speed. According to a study that was published in the year 2021 in the journal Frontiers in Endocrinology, things continue to deteriorate. Fructose is responsible for the formation of advanced glycation end products, which not only cause damage to collagen, but also cause inflammation in the nerves and connective tissue that surround your joints. This results in legs that are more rigid, slower movement, and an increased risk of falling. On the surface, mango may appear to be fresh, but as it ripens, its quality deteriorates. As soon as it becomes syrupy and mushy, it transforms into a sugar bomb and is no longer considered a healthy snack. This sugar bomb is like gasoline on fire for senior citizens who have knees that are weak, legs that tingle, or who recover slowly after engaging in physical activity. Consume mango before it becomes soft, and always combine it with blood sugar stabilizers such as Greek yogurt, a handful of walnuts, or crushed flax seeds. If you truly enjoy mango, you should eat it before it becomes mushy. On the other hand, if your legs are already restless, or if your equilibrium is deteriorating, it is possible that you should forego the mango altogether. Your knees will be grateful to you. The next item on the agenda is a fruit that is tender, sweet, and frequently marketed as a snack that is good for the heart. On the other hand, it is the poorest for leg strength, is the first. There are bananas. They are advertised as the ideal snack to have after a workout because they are sweet, they are soft, and they are soft. Bananas, on the other hand, may be quietly reducing the power of your legs in people over the age of 60. The fact that bananas are unhealthy is not the issue at hand. The slowing of metabolism, insulin resistance, and persistent low-grade inflammation that they cause in older individuals is the exact way in which they have an effect. A high glycemic load is associated with bananas. Just like a Coke, a ripe banana can cause a surge in blood sugar almost as quickly. The reason for this is that their naturally occurring sugars, mostly glucose and fructose, are easily digested and absorbed very quickly because there is not much fiber present to slow them down. When there is a spike in your blood sugar, insulin levels rise. Over time, these surges cause your muscle fibers to become weaker. They encourage fat storage around the thighs and hips, and they decrease the amount of glucose that muscle cells are able to take in. Your muscles are not recovering as quickly as they used to. Your legs are feeling heavier, and your steps are happening more slowly. A study that was conducted in 2019 and published in the journal Frontiers in Endocrinology discovered that older persons who had greater dietary glycemic loads had considerably worse quadriceps strength, balance control, and muscle endurance, even when their overall calorie intake was moderate. Specifically, the researchers stressed that carbohydrates that were taken quickly were particularly detrimental to the strength and stability of the legs. In addition, bananas are deficient in magnesium and essential amino acids, both of which are required for the contraction of muscles and the control of nerve function. Consider this as well. If you are eating bananas on a daily basis, under the impression that you are increasing your potassium intake. In those who have decreased kidney function, which is increasingly prevalent beyond the age of 60, an excessive amount of potassium from food sources can have the opposite effect, causing muscle weariness, cramping, and a slowing of movement. Don't freak out if you're a banana fanatic. Simply change the way you consume them. Rather than selecting bananas that are squishy and spotty, opt for green or slightly underripe bananas. You should never consume them by itself, since they include more resistant starch, which slows down the rate at which blood sugar levels rise. In order to mitigate the effects of the glucose, combine with nutritious fats such as peanut butter or a handful of walnuts. If, on the other hand, you consume bananas on a daily basis and have seen that your legs are becoming weaker, then this delicious snack might be working against you. You are now aware of the reality. These 7 fruits may have a pleasant appearance, but for those over the age of 60, they are a silent killer of collagen, a source of inflammation, and a drain on the very leg strength that is necessary to maintain independence. The most unfortunate aspect is that the majority of these fruits are marketed as being healthy, but the sweetness conceals a lack of nutritional value. In a literal sense, if you are experiencing discomfort in your knees, fatigue in your legs, or inability to maintain your balance, the solution could be found in your fruit bowl. Now, here is the task for you. After you have cleaned up your kitchen, checked your pantry, and examined the labels on the fruit, you should begin selecting more intelligent and senior-friendly selections that will safeguard your legs rather than causing them to be destroyed. After the age of 60, every step is significant. Before you leave, please leave a comment. Which one of these fruits startled you the most? And which one are you going to remove from the fruit supply first? We take the time to read each and every comment, and we are here to assist you in retaliating with scientific proof. Remember to subscribe for other senior health recommendations that are supported by genuine science, because your legs, your joints, and your independence are deserving of better because you deserve it. Write down your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below and share them with us. We appreciate you watching.